Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Steph Sanity, and today we're going to set up in our bullet journals for the month of February. We're going to start off with the supplies and these Tombow food and nose key pens. It's a soft tip and a hard tip. They are like my favorite lately. I'm also going to go with the theme of like reds and pinks for February. I think that's going to be pretty common, but I'm going to be using my Zebra Mildliner pen. It's the red color, and then my Tombow pen. It's the pink and the red one. They're the color numbers 837 and 723. And I'm also going to use my favorite Castell Artist Pitt pen in the size small or S. And I also pulled out my Jelly Roll pen. It's the metallic silver shade, but I don't think I ended up using it at all. All these products will be listed down below if you are interested. I got them all from Amazon. So I actually just finished up my January flip through. If you want to see that, then it will be linked down below. I go a little bit in depth about what I liked about my last setup and what I would do differently, and it's going to help a lot with my setup today and what I'm deciding to do for my spreads. So I'm just writing February very large as the title, and I'm leaving space for a calendar underneath. So after I draw that out, then I'm actually going in with my Zebra Mildliner pen that I mentioned, and I'm just adding some shadows. So basically I'm just darkening the left side of each letter and the top of each letter. And then right below that, just like last month, I'm going to make a calendar just centered in the middle of the page. And this is basically just for reference, and I do reference this a lot throughout the month just to see where the days fall and such. So I'm just adding a little bit of detail, a little bit of color. And then I started this new thing this year where I like to pick a quote and put it at the bottom of the page just to bring it all together and also to set the tone for the month. And I really like doing this. And since it's February, I thought it'd be a good idea to find some kind of quote that incorporates love. So I went with this one, and it is by Lucille Ball. It says, "Love yourself first and everything else falls in line. You really have to love yourself to get anywhere in this world." And I really like this quote. I think it's a good, empowering, and inspirational quote that I can refer back to. Confidence and self-love and self-worth is so huge. So I hope you guys get some motivation from that as well, and feel free to recreate the title page. Flipping to the next page is going to be the first page for the month, and it's the monthly overview. I'm just doing my usual corner tab, and I like that because when you're flipping through, each month stands out from one another. And I'm dividing this page in half. The first column is going to be personal, and the next column is going to be business, and I'll just write the dates and days down the center. So I do have a little space since February is a short month at the bottom of the page. So I thought this washi tape kind of flowed with the color scheme and everything, and I just thought it fit nicely. So I just added a strip of that to the very bottom of the page rather than doing more writing. And I like to go back and highlight the Sundays just to separate the weeks a little bit more. And then as an example, I wanted to fill in a couple of the days since I do have a couple of appointments that I could put in. And I like using my ballpoint pen, my Bic Atlantis pen, to actually fill in my bullet journal. I was using fine liners, but I realized they were too bold and precise for what I wanted. It's just so much quicker and easier. And I like the difference in the opacity between this and the fine liners and the titles, for example. So moving on to the next page, this is the habit trackers. I do a separate calendar or chart for each different habit. It helps me to prioritize all of them equally, and it's always fun at the end of the day to check each one off or color in the boxes like I did last month. You'll see that in my last video as well. But I have 12 habits that I want to keep this month, and I'm writing them each out bold, and it fills up the page perfectly if you have 12 habits, rather than keep flipping back and forth between last month's habit tracker spread and this month. I just jotted them all down on this notepad, and I'm referring to that as I fill this out. So my habits are to write, clean. I want to listen to podcasts. I did have read last month, but it's just not practical for me to put that on here because I don't read often enough. Also, I want to do Pilates, eat healthy, floss. I've been doing like multiple times a day like a fanatic. And then Exercise Chaos, my golden doodle, he needs a lot of exercise. He has a ton of energy. I also want to get a lot better with keeping good posture. And then I want to fill out my gratitude log every day like I have been doing. And then fill out my bullet journal. Of course, this should be on all of your habit trackers, I think. And then I also put make a sale because I've been making a ton of journal sales lately and I want to keep up the momentum, so I added that on here. Plus it's nice to know when my business is doing well, so to fill in those dates where I make sales will be really beneficial to me, especially to look back on. And then the last one is going to be to film, just so I can kind of create a better schedule for myself. And then at the bottom, I'm actually writing out a key. Pink is going to be for the habits that I do on an occasional basis or just on certain days, not daily. And then the red is going to be for my daily habits, which is most of this list. But I just wanted to be able to differentiate between the two. So when I'm looking on a daily basis to fill this out, I'm not holding too high of a standard for myself and expecting myself to do all of these every single day. Okay, moving on to the next spread. This is the mood tracker, and I track my moods a lot differently than you're probably used to seeing. I came up with my own method, and it's been working amazing for me, and it's so nice for self-reflection as well. Moods are so important to me, to track them and to establish like patterns in my moods and what is bettering my mood and helping me to stay more positive and what is bringing my mood down. So I like to use a whole page to track this, and you'll see how I utilize the whole page here shortly, but I just left a little gap between each week, and then I put a weekly summary next to each of the weeks. And basically every day I'll fill out a bar from the date on the left to the percentage of my mood. So if I'm feeling perfectly happy, then of course it'll be 100%, and it'll stretch all the way to that 100 mark. And then at the end of the week, I will just do like a recap and write out what helped my mood and what hurt my mood. And this worked so well for me last month. I highly recommend recreating this spread for yourself, whether or not you actually keep a bullet journal. So this next spread is something new. I've never done this before, but since I didn't include it in my habit tracker like I thought I was going to do, I thought it'd be nice to have a whole spread for this. So I'm calling it Learn Something New Every Day, and I'm just drawing a couple of boxes with the date just to show you how I intend to lay out this page. Moving on to the next page, this is going to be my food log. I did this in January after I filmed my setup. It just hit me that I wanted to do this because I want to lose some weight before my wedding day in April, so I thought this would be a nice way to help me stay on track with that. So at the bottom, I'm just making a box for groceries and takeaways or notes basically, and I'm adding a drop shadow just to make that look a little bit nicer. The next page is going to be my gratitude log, and since I write so small and I didn't come even close to filling up this page for January, I wanted to write a big quote in the center of the page, and then I'll write each day what I'm grateful for around this quote, if that makes sense. So I thought this quote was fitting. It says, "Find the beauty in everything," and I'm just adding a little bit of accents to make this a little prettier. And then I'm just writing the dates across the top, once again, just so you get an idea of the layout. And then moving on to the next page. So this is the last spread, and this is going to be my weekly setup, and I'll do the rest of the weekly setups off camera, but I'm going to follow the same exact format. In the top left hand corner, I'm just making a little reference calendar on that page because it helps. During the week, I refer to this page all the time, of course. And then some of this got cut off, but I thought I would fill in that space on the right, that empty space, with just some leaves, a rose, and just a couple of flower petals. And then in the upper section of the page on the left, I'm making room for highlights to track all the highlights of the week, the things that stand out, the things that go well, for example. And then on the right, I'm making a space for my to-do list. So I'm just going to jot down all the things that I need to do for the week in my to-do list section. And then once I assign a day for each task, then I'll write them down below in this bottom section that I sectioned off. And this is just the weekdays, and then I'll fill in the dates as well. And then once I shade in the dates so that the dates stand out, then we are done with this spread as well. And that wraps up our February setup. So I'm just going to flip through it and show you all the pages that we just created together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some inspiration for your own bullet journal. So be be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bullet journal videos, more flip throughs, more spread ideas, and more plan with me videos each month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you in my next video.